Hi everybody, this is Kevin with Garrison Dental Solutions, and today I want to tell you about an exciting brand new product, the Fusion Anterior Matrix System. We've had anterior strips of different types, mylar, polyester strips available for quite a few years, and this system utilizes something kind of clever. It uses a metal band rather than a plastic band. So let's talk about why do we have a metal band in there. Not too long after we started selling posterior sectional matrix bands, customers would come by, particularly like at the trade shows, and they would show us how they would use a posterior sectional band in the anterior by placing it vertically like this. And the reason they would do this is this curvature interproximally creates a much nicer shaped restoration. The band works that way, but it's not really ideal. What can we do to further this shape, really make it ideal so that it works in more types of restorations and makes the process of obtaining a nice contact interproximally on the anterior as automatic as these bands do on the posterior. So we spent a lot of time, a lot of research, a lot of field trials to come up with the shapes here. So why metal, right? Why a metal matrix band? First of all, this metal is only 15 10,000ths thick. A typical polyester strip is going to be 20 10,000ths, 25 10,000ths thick. So 50% thicker than what we can achieve with a metal band. So again, the less material you have interproximally, the easier it is to maintain a good contact. Secondly, the shape that we can stamp into this metal is quite a bit different than what we can achieve with plastic. We can create a very nice gingival incisal edge curvature. We can shape it so nicely from the facial to the lingual aspect. When you're placing the composite and shaping the composite, we can provide substantially more support by use of the metal. This is not dead soft. Like here's that anterior or the posterior band that I had placed earlier. This is dead soft. Okay, it just crimples and crushes. It's very, very malleable. By having the shape in here and being nice and firm as it is going to sculpt some of the interproximal shape for you and not have a tendency to deform when you are compressing composite into that space. So there's two sizes here. There's a tall and a short. They are slightly tapered. You can see that this side is wider than this one. Really placement-wise, it kind of depends on the restoration. If you've got a deep, wide restoration, you may want to place this wider area towards the sulcus so that you can, cover that area a little better. If you're doing a class 4, you probably want this wider side up towards the incisal edge to help support that. So it gives you a lot of flexibility in that regard. So let's talk about the wedges here. They're just really different than what we have for posterior wedges. Of course, we have the 4 sizes. The color coding matches our typical posterior wedge. The shape, though, is radically different. They go in like this. They wrap around the tooth, hold that matrix band up against the tooth. This would allow it to wrap around one way. Just simply flip it over, and it'll wrap around to the other side. This portion in here that lays up against the tooth, we call that the cervical interface because that's going to press that band right up against the tooth. The separator strut will ride over top of the sulcus and allow you to really adjust how much separating pressure you're placing interproximally without creating a large black triangle. It just sits deeper, hugs that tooth a little nicer. Can be placed from either the buccal or the lingual, just depending on where the restoration is and how you want that band held up against the tooth. Ideal use case for the fusion anterior system is going to be a deeper, wider restoration like we see here on this class 3. The metal band just does a great job of sliding down. You can just tuck it in, a little apical pressure, and you can see how that slides down in there so nicely. So with the matrix band in place like this, you'll have to decide which direction you want to wedge from. You can wedge from the buccal or the lingual, depending on the restoration. You want to hold the wedge quite firmly so that it maintains the cervical interface towards the tooth in a nice flat manner, and then drive it in. And you can see how that wraps that around very nicely, holds it up against the tooth so that you can restore that. You've got plenty of access here. So that's a brief overview of the brand new Fusion Anterior Matrix System from Garrison Dental Solutions. Just a fantastic new option for restoring Class 3, Class 4 anterior restorations.